A very influential person in my life gave me the advice, Mark, with your home, don't sleep on your money. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that right now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 401 and still counting.
Wow.
This morning we're going to be talking about don't sleep on your money. Do I have to own where I live? Get my money working for me? There's a lot of, Mark, a lot of the sort of perception, stigma is own your own home, live in your home. But we get a lot of people who have different views that are very, very successful, and it sort of gets you thinking. And it sort of, I think the phrase "don't sleep on your money" is a really good embodiment of what a different strategy that you can, a different lifestyle. What's sort of your view? Do you? Because I think a clarification here is, we're not saying don't own a property, but a lot of people say you can't rent one. Renting's bad a lot of the time.
And I guess we're really talking about a property that you want to live in rather than an investment property. So an owner occupied. So you're living in there, you and your family living in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's sort of your view on that?
You
have to own where you live. What's the scenario that you don't own where you live? Why would you do that? Why would you pay someone else?
I remember that the founder, Aussie John, always he's in his own place now, but I remember for the first 30 years in business, he always said, "No, you just rent what you want. My money can be invested better elsewhere." It struck me a couple of years ago when I had one of our famous Greek landlords, probably worth over $100 million, and lived quite modestly. And I was like, what about you buy this? What about you buy that? What about you buy this? What about you buy that? And he could really live anywhere he wanted to.
Yeah.
And I'm there like that on the water, have a view. And he's like, no, I don't want to sleep on my money. And I was like, I thought it's pretty clever, because if you bang out millions of dollars to do that, then that's not working for you. That money, you're sort of sleeping on it.
Yeah. Well, because you're not really, there's not much benefit. Your family home, you need a roof over your head. And you don't have the tax write-offs, you don't have other potential incomes you can make out of it because it's your home. Like, yes, you could put a granny flat on it, but you may not want a stranger living out the back. So more often than not, your primary residence is your worst investment. Figure out the capital growth. And what we mean by that is you don't have the tax write-off, so you can't claim anything. And you may not have a second or third income on that property. A lot of residential homes, Mark, that are the best returners have 2 or 3 incomes. They've put a granny flat, they've maybe got two different groups living up and downstairs, but you wouldn't do that if you were living there. So there's a big point of difference between how you would treat a residential house, living in it, and investment. And I think that's really the point of that client's view.
And I had the conversation a couple of times, even yesterday. So we've got a property above Manly Beach Surf Club, number 2 Reddle Street, for rent. You can rent that home. Beautiful location. The location's probably the best location in the entire Northern Beaches. It's probably the best block of land on the entire Northern Beaches. Now, when you look at that for an example, it's $3,600, offers over $3,600 a week rent. But I reckon that's probably a $15, $20 million home.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So, you know, when that whoever's going to rent that is going to live really, really well, because doing your top level maths, 20 mil at 2% is going to be 400
Okay, yeah.
400 grand. Well, that's no one's going to give you interest rate at that loan. So that's 600K a year plus maintaining the property, plus maintaining the taxes of the property. Whereas someone's going to be in there for probably more like 150K, not having to maintain it. So, and then you can take that the rest of the money and invest it elsewhere. That's a high level example. You know, it's a 1 in a million example, but you know, it's just it's sort of when you do it amplify like that, it really makes sense even more.
Yeah, it does. And also, everything's changes where you want to live, your family, you're in a relationship, you're out of a relationship. Well, I think, what was it the other day? 50% of marriages, or 51, end in divorce. So when you look at when a lot of the older concept, own where you live and you sort of buy and you never move, a lot of those traditions, unfortunately, aren't necessarily the same, or the reality don't match the traditions. So it wouldn't be a bad idea where, like, in summer you rent a property near the water. Winter you go up to, say, Ingleside, and you get on a big block of land. Like, I think this day and age, especially the younger generation, they want to stay mobile. Go own a unit DY, but go rent one in Manly, and then rent one in the city, and then maybe rent one closer to uni or something like that. Rather than, well, I want to buy here because it's close to uni, but then you finish uni and you're like, oh, now I own this property and I want to be in Manly. So you sell that and buy there, because obviously the selling or the transactional costs are a killer. The 10% growth you save, you could burn with agent fees and stamp duties in in a transaction. There's almost 6% just there. So
that's almost the ethos of invest where you should, live where you want.
Yes. Good. Yes.
Invest where you should, live where you want, because it's a good point you brought up. You know, people are very, very fickle at the moment. Everything's got a shorter fuse in society, and unfortunately that includes marriages as well. But it is more of a throwaway. So that renting certainly fits into rather than buying when you're living somewhere. Although we're not saying don't invest. I think the key message out of all of this is you've got to have your money, like shoveled into some property, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the property that you want to occupy.
Yes, and I had this conversation with my sister where she's looking first homeowner. And obviously there's a bit of a glass ceiling with income, what you can buy, especially if you're going to take advantage of the 5% deposit. A lot of people would be capped at, I think, like 400K purchase price. So yes, you want to live Northern Beaches, but you may then look at buying in Newcastle for your investment. And I think her initial reaction was like, no, I would never live in Newcastle. But it's like, yes, but you're not living there. You're having an investment. You're getting in the market. Yes, it's not ideal for yourself, but if you look, we've done this many times, Mark, anywhere in Sydney have very similar growth. It was almost like spot the difference. So it didn't matter where you put your money, Newcastle, DY, Blacktown, that within a few percentage over the 5 or 10 year period were all very similar. So you're better off investing somewhere where you can get into the market and live where you want. So I think that's and now she's come around going, I want to buy, obviously the market's not getting better, and no, it's not getting cheaper, and I want to get in the market. So I'll now look at Newcastle and secure a property, keep living Northern Beaches, and that's just where you've got to think. And I think a lot of people got to think like that. Everyone's caught up. Northern Beaches is not affordable, or Manly's not affordable. But I don't think will it ever be? Buy where you can, and then move.
You know where it's most obvious. And Michael, you and I always have this share this frustration. First home buyers, one better, two better.
Yeah,
It's like, guys, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Stay with your mates. Rent where you want. Do in terms of where you want to live, just live it. But with your investment, just get in there. So a lot of people they end up saving for that two better, where they could have afforded the one better straight away because that's what they wanted to live in. What we're saying in this episode is basically just get in there, because you can't possibly save a deposit as fast as what the market's rising. So just get in there, and sure, you want your look, after you've got if you wanted to be in a premium home, there's no reason why you can't rent that premium home, keep buying one-bedroom units, and eventually you may just have all those one-bedroom units and you just buy the premium home because you've got the equity already built into those one-bedroom units. You know what I mean? So, or, it can be a smarter place to rent that premium home because it's so much cheaper than interest.
100%. And I've always said to any of my friends who are looking to buy, you really need to separate the way you want to live and the investment side of things, because you'll go around in circles and you will never buy anything. So you need to make the decision real quick. Are you buying something that you want to live in or investment? Because so often the first home buyer will cancel out great investments because they can't see themselves living there, and will cancel out properties they love because it doesn't make sense as an investment, because the numbers way out, because there's a lot of people who will pay over, so the yield's lower. And it's like, if you want to own where you live, forget the yield because it's where you want. If you're looking for an investment, forget cancelling it out because it's south facing and you want to wake up to the sun, because the rental yields are still good. So you need to make that real quick, the distinction of what you're buying. And I think have the investment hat on and get in the market and rent where you want. And exactly what you just said, because I had a good meeting on Saturday with a couple of clients who were looking at cashing out of their commercial property, which, let's say it's worth 4 million, but the income's most important because they're older. It generates 120K income. So they're like, that's worth more to us. We need 120K income to make this worthwhile. Because initially the conversation was, we won't sell unless we get, say, 4.5. I'm like, well, what are you selling for and what are you going to buy? And it's like, well, we're going to buy a house, but if I can't sell for the same price I can buy a house, what's the point? And then I got to the root of it and go, okay, so the root is you want 120K income but no maintenance. Their properties were like 100 years old. So they're going to have a bit of work coming up. And then it basically got the conclusion. So you could sell these properties. You both have 3 family homes. You could build 3 granny flats and a second level and rent that out separately on your existing properties for 3. So say that's 400K and get 130K income and still have $3.6 million left over. And it was just like the penny dropped, because you've got to look at what you're wanting. You want income, you want capital growth, you want a property on the water, or you want an investment. And when you sort of get that tunnel vision on what you're looking for, it's amazing. Like their initial thing was, we want a house. So I go, okay, well, a house is going to be a house. In
summary,
yeah.
In summary, rent. I got it. Rent the water views.
Yeah.
Out of everything that you've said today, and out of everything that I've said today, in summary, rent the water views. If you want something premium, rent it. And your bread and butter investments, make sure you buy them as investment properties. It's going to do better for you, dude.
Yeah, there was this quote on Ballers with The Rock. It was, what is it? If it floats, flies, and I won't say the other one, lease it, not buy it. Because a lot of the premium just doesn't have that. Now I remember the third one. You guys can Google it yourself.
Floats, flies, and rent it.
Yeah, rent it. I'll tell you the other one. Anyway, that's a wrap. That's a good one. Yeah, it's a perfect saying. So, alrighty.
And congratulations on some record sales yesterday that you had, Michael. There was some phenomenal ones there. So great run.
Yeah, a couple good commercials. I'm seeing some momentum come back in the commercial market. Real Commercial had some data. The views are up. So from a very, 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 very slow 9 months, we're starting to see some traction. So, and a couple quite competitive transactions with other agents.
Yeah, you got
so it's good.
25 grand more than another agent on one. Owner was over the moon. And another one was over 100,000 more than another agent because you placed in a tenant, then let it as a tenanted investment, which was a genius move.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing I take away from that deal is buyer work. It's not always about the price. It's where you get your buyer positioned, having the contract reviewed, putting your buyer in the best position to secure that property. I think a lot of times people focus on maybe just the price, but a price is irrelevant unless it's on a contract and ready to exchange. And there's a lot of prep work to get a buyer to that. And obviously it helps having good buyers who have good lawyers. We say it on a lot of shows, Mark, you got to have that team, lawyers, vows, brokers. You need to know where you are. So getting your buyers in that position really helps. So, but yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning.
Boom.
Boom.
See you, legend.